Welcome back to Stu Maker. I'm Stu and I like to make things. And today I got my old setup back. I mean, you see my camera right there, got some lights going. It looks good, I hope. Hopefully, I don't know. Today is about me turning an old arch painting. Here's the photo. Looks great. It's a great photo. And I was thinking to myself, what if we take kind of the essence of this old art and try to make it new, trying to have some fun with it. Either that's like reusing some of the colors or trying out the composition and things like that. So I thought, why not give it a shot? And that's what I did. But I wanted to see how the product would look if I changed it up. And I had this idea in my head. I was like, I like this pose. I wonder if I could do this pose as this character, Baphomet I have, and see what that would look like with him in the, in the thing. So this was definitely that kind of scenario. And I did trace. So if you don't like tracing, trigger warning, I guess. I did trace. Mainly because, I don't know, I didn't feel like eyeballing it and going over and just like trying to do that. I don't do this for every piece I do. Obviously, some of these you can see my anatomy is real crap. But the ones where it's really good, I usually just found like a pose I liked somewhere and I just lifted it there or looked at it, But today I decided just to be a little bit more lazy because the amount of characters that are on screen. Off the jump, I already kind of just wanted to get the structure of how everybody's body kind of worked. And that's been kind of like a really fun part about that because that's like what I'm usually the worst at. I'm not super good when it comes to like doing anatomy. I prefer kind of doing this like mid, body length kind of thing. And you see here, I already have my character Baphomet in the pose ready to go. And right now I drew all that as guidelines just so I know where their faces are and like kind of what they're looking like. I'm not going to replicate that in any extra way. And here I'm actually using a really fun pencil brush I got. It's from a free pack. I'll link it down below if I remember. And it was really fun. I actually really liked this pencil. Normally I prefer like a very sharp pen tip, and you'll see what my own version of that down below soon. But here, this is just like, I like how messy it looks. That's one of the things I miss from doing a lot more, physical drawings. You get the real texture feeling of it. And I know people have like different kinds of brushes that make it look real, but like it never really is. But this was like a nice kind of like homage to that, I guess, in a way. So for me, this is really fun. I guess that guy was like a fawn, right? So he's like this guy, and there's all these like ladies coming up in him and trying to be like, oh, hey, come with me, kind of thing. So I kind of wanted to keep that vibe, but have my own fun with it. And so in my head, this is kind of like a fight scene potentially, and these creatures are not quite taking him seriously, and they're leading him places and trying to do things to him, and he's obviously not really about it. But I really love the pose. That's one of the things that like really struck out with me. I had seen this dude's video. Again, I forget names off the top of my head, but it was really cool and I really dug it. And this was kind of in that vein as well. Just be like, okay, let's see what we can do with this. And this one was fun. Like I said, I normally will change a drawing a lot. And here, as you can see there, I put back his figure back in and added some gray just to kind of distinguish what part was going on what was on top, what was on bottom, just so later on it becomes a little easier to deal with. And this was fun. Honestly, the monster designs was kind of like a simple thing to me. I really just love weird designs, and this was kind of like just another one. And it was really fun to use the woman's poses as kind of like inspiration for this. And yeah, I really dug it. And there's no rhyme or reason to their skin or whatever. This is just things I like to draw. I had a few different ideas in my head because I had this like old like character design that I liked, which was kind of like a witch thing, which was really cool. But I just felt it didn't quite work. And so here I'm cleaning up all the lines and edges to make sure that the two sketches exist separately. And the way I did this is that he's on his own layer, they're on their own layer, and then when I start doing colors, I usually do that on their own layer as well. Usually per character gets like one layer. I'm not one of those people that has like 30 layers for colors. I did do a separate layer for the metals just because it's a lot easier to go and like blend that way rather than like trying to do it all in one. And here you can see I'm playing with the color scheme, trying to figure out what I like, what I don't like. I ended up going back to the gold, but it definitely, I kind of struggle with this. I had a few different ones that I liked, but I wasn't like super fond of any of them. And I'm not even fond of this version of the gold. There's a better version that comes with later. But yeah, we did the blue. And then I was driving by this, my neighborhood, and I saw this like really cool street, and like it has all these, whatever, telephone cables or whatever. And I thought it was cool. It just reminded me of the movie Seven. So I was like, oh, wouldn't that be cool to juxtapose kind of what originally like pause. This is, oh shit. Okay, so yeah, so I was driving by my neighborhood and I saw these like really cool pylons or whatever they're called, the telephone cables and all that stuff, and I was like, you know what, that'd be kind of fun, because for me, I think it was like a really nice homage to Seven, because I remember that Seven has this really fun vibe, and I thought it'd be really interesting to color it, to push the background and everything to more of like an orange, warmer palette rather than this cold blue. And that's why I had them blue, because I thought they would like juxtapose really well against the background. You'll see for me that doesn't quite work, but still really cool. In the original drawing they were in nature, so I thought what would be better than just like really dry and arid nature, because like Baphomet is supposed to take place in Los Demonios, which is my version of like Los Angeles and all this stuff. And this is really cool. I really dug this drawing. I use this like teardrop pen, which just kind of shows up really sharp and then kind of thickens as it goes. I'd prefer it if it kind of tapered again at the end, but for some reason it doesn't really do that. I don't know how to do that on Procreate, and honestly, to spend the time to do all that would kind of annoy me. But another thing I've really been really into is just drawing backgrounds. It's really fun. I know I did trace this one, but this is a photo I took, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to have in my head. I don't know how this thing would look otherwise. But the grass and everything's all me. The sky's all me. I kind of just came up with that. As I think, people get really hung up on like, you have to draw everything from memory. It's like, who cares, dude? I don't know. I also did this little quick shadow pass. Yeah, there's a lot of places that aren't quite within whatever, and I clean it up. I ended up getting rid of it because it just didn't fit right. I also added this like really interesting lighting here to the red, gold, yellow, gold back, and that's where the thing ended. And as you can see with the actual drawing here with the original, and again, I forgot the name, but hopefully I'll remember it while I'm editing this, and I'll put it down below so you guys can see. It's a really fun and interesting pose. The poses, obviously, I took directly from the original painting, and despite whatever qualms you can have with that, I definitely did my own thing with it. I definitely made it my own in my own way, which I thought was really fun. And honestly, one of the things I love about this new piece is a few different specific things. I love the background. I love how that came and together, and juxtaposing it with the original, and like they're in this nature setting and it's beautiful. It's by a little pond or something, and versus this like very arid kind of bright hot area. And I think honestly the gold works better for the figures, or the woman, or monsters if you will, because honestly for me, I don't know. I think they still stand out against the background, but but they still kind of like blend into it. So in this way, they're kind of part of this world that he's getting pulled into, and he is the central figure. He is literally robed in black. He's got a little orange, which is definitely a little different, not too dissimilar. And the thing I will say I love is like the new costume. So I've been playing around with the costume designs. I do this like every drawing. I like change the costume, and I think every artist probably does this to some degree, because drawing the same thing again to me is kind of boring. So this one's kind of fun. Can I give him a little kind of like a little thing that you put over his face that also flows into the cape? I thought that was like a really fun design. Having little insignia on the side, as well as the armor plates kind of built into the suit, was also kind of sick. Also gave him some chucks. Not because I think he would actually wear chucks, especially because the time period this is supposed to take place in, but I just like drawing chucks, so for him I just put them on as a prerequisite. But yeah, no, I'm really happy with the way this one came together. I think looking at the original, it's just a masterpiece in general. Like, I wouldn't say mine is a masterpiece, but my drawing is my own, and it is a direct homage to the previous work. And I think that's what art always is. It's a homage to other people's work. You don't want to like obviously steal everything one for one. I mean, even if you were to like recreate the original painting as it was, but like just like eyeball it like a forgery to some degree, that could be interesting just as a study in and of itself. But for me, the way I tend to draw is a lot more line driven. Like, I had talked to my friend Matt, shout out to Matt, that some artists, like, the thing I don't really think about is that some artists really have a different process. Is a painter, he thinks about it like sculpting, or adding all these elements into it, and that is not how I really process my art. For me, it's always about lines, and I don't know, I love like just chicken scratch. Like, it's all very stream of conscious. I don't really think about it too hard. So for me, like, that's why a lot of my compositions are like anatomy can get kind of weird, because I don't really think it through. I'm not looking at it like shapes like most artists would say you should do. And in a way, that's good and a bad thing, because it's a good thing because like I have a lot more freedom to do as I please, but it's also a bad thing because it's like, well, then now you're never going to get anything that really looks 100% the real. And I think that was something that I wanted to learn, and that's why doing this exercise was kind of fun. Kind of like, okay, if we had a little bit more of an anatomy background, what would it look like? And obviously you can get some really cool drawings from this. I am actually a huge fan of this drawing. I love just everything about it. It's so cool. I think the one thing I might change is the lighting of the highlights, you know, because it's got this like yellow streak on it, and it's really only on him, so I'm like debating if I even need it, for one, and two, it's yellow, so it kind of brings him closer to everything else, which I don't know if I want. I think I might want more of a stark contrast instead. So that is something I'll probably go in and double and like re-configure and see how I feel about it. But on the whole, I think it's very sick. I think, you know, recently I've been, you know, trying to level up my art and getting better at it. And, you know, things happen in an iterative process, and you don't really realize how much better you are getting at things. And recently I've done some other drawings, which maybe I'll talk about here, you know, who knows. And yeah, so I feel like there's a genuine change in my art, both in the background and the foreground and the composition wise, and I want to keep leveling it up and keep working on it and keep doing what I'm doing, and I will. So, you know, if you like that stuff, definitely check this out. And if you didn't know, I also have a book out, which is called Excal, written by me, Stuart Guerrero, if you didn't know my name. But either way, here's the cover. If you haven't checked out the video where I talk about the book, I go over it and everything, and it's on Amazon. You can buy it there. You can leave a review if you feel like it, good or bad, doesn't really matter to me. I don't really read reviews anyways, so go for it, man. There was one error that I didn't catch that someone who had bought the book found, so thank you to that person. You know who you are. And I feel like it. It's got some heart from me and stuff. You know, talk about my card game and everything. If you like any of that, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram. I'll link that down below. We also have a Discord. Right now, it's just you know, I think it's just like me and one other dude, which is totally fine. No, actually, there's a couple other people, but they really don't talk too much. But either way, if you want to talk to me personally, ask me questions or whatever about the game, I do have a PDF of the rule book. I'm actually adding a couple new little pages there, so definitely look out for that. But either way, thank you guys so much. Please do like, comment, subscribe down below if you feel like it. If you don't, I totally understand, but I appreciate you getting to the end of the video, and hopefully you enjoy the content. Either way, see you next time.